In this podcast, we dig deep into the life experiences of our guests to connect the dots between their early experiences and what they're doing today. Today, we have a very special guest, Johnny Scoville. He has a channel, Johnny Scoville, on YouTube, where he eats spicy foods and hot sauces. Johnny, would you like to quickly introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you guys so much for having me. I really appreciate it. It's an honor to be here. And I love the format. I really do, I have to tell you. But I'm a chili head. I'm a chili head. It's my thing. So I started a channel about 7 years ago, just for fun, really. Honestly, I had no intention of anything happening, and it just sort of blew up. And now I have, followers all over the world, and I do it full time, and it's just been a real blessing. But the craziest, the most bizarre thing is it's all been by accident. It really, really was. I mean. Nobody is more surprised with the success of the channel and things that have happened than I am. Nobody. So.
That's awesome. Thanks for that introduction, Johnny. Great to have you on the show. And I think we should also talk about how we came across each other, right? Like I definitely should mention that we actually met at the airport, right, sitting right next to each other. This is back in November in Charlotte, North Carolina. I was just transiting, and then you were also heading for a shoot somewhere. So great to have you finally, and talk to you and hear more about your journey. Before we talk about your channel, tell us a little bit more about your early childhood, early upbringing. I know you mentioned a little bit that your father basically helped you, or he encouraged you to eat a little bit of chili. So tell us a little bit more about that and try to connect with what you're doing today.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty crazy story because, ironically enough, my father died 2 years ago today. Today's the second anniversary of his passing, and he's just. He was just the most engaged, involved dad. It's like if you you Google father, like ideal dad, it ought to have my dad's picture there. He was just, I can't recall a bad moment that we had. He's just a great guy. When I was a little kid, I idolized him, and I wanted to do anything he did. And he liked spicy stuff. And one day he was eating a pepperoncini. I was I think it was 7 or 8. To the best of that we can piece together. I'm not young anymore, so it's hard to do that. But I said to him, I want one of those. He said, you won't like it, Johnny. I said, come on. He goes, you won't like it? I said, please, please, you know how little kids are. And finally he goes, here, have it. You won't like it. And I ate it, and it burned me, but I loved it. And that kind of started a lifelong passion to me, listen, a meal that's not spicy, or that's not spicy, is just fuel for your tank. And I don't have much of a desire just to put fuel in my tank. So everything I eat is, listen, the toothpaste I use to brush my teeth at night in the morning is ghost pepper infused toothpaste. So literally everything. If I have ice cream, I have hot sauce made for ice cream. The only meals that I have eaten in the last 7 years that were not heated were meals on airplanes going to different countries.
Wow, that is impressive, actually. I did not expect to hear about the spicy toothpaste. That's interesting. I didn't even know they sell that. Is that special made or something?
No, it's a thing. It's a $1 billion industry, the chili industry. If you go, listen, it's a funny thing. If you go back, like when I started the channel 7 years ago, if you walk through the snack aisle in any grocery store, you'd see jalapeno and some habanero maybe. Today, you walk through, you'll see habanero, ghost pepper, you'll see Reaper. Everything is hot. You have hot one. First we feast. It's trending in such a big way that I've done reviews for toothpicks that were infused with Carolina Reaper. It's just toothpicks. So you hold a toothpick in your mouth burns where the toothpick is. If you can think of it, it's heated. And if it's not heated, I'll heat it. We have a company.
Yeah, new product offering, right? New product offering, great business.
Well, you know what? My business partner and I do that. That's what we do to come up with ideas. I swear to you, on a weekend we'll get together and we'll go to a couple different big box stores, and we'll just walk, no cart, nothing. We'll just walk up and down aisles and look for what's been heated, what hasn't, what needs to be improved on, or what what I mean. And I swear to you, that's where we get a lot of our ideas that way.
That's funny. I got one for you. What about gum? I know there's cinnamony gum, but outside of that, is there anything else heated?
Sure. There was a bubble gum called Trouble Bubble that was infused with 16 million Scoville pure capsaicin crystals. Now, in the pepper game, 16 million is as hot. It's the maximum. That's as hot as peppers can achieve. So, and this had pure capsaicin crystals in it. It's a challenge that went around, and it was mind-boggling because here was the challenge: you had to chew it up, and you had to blow a bubble with it. And some people put it in their mouth, chew on it twice, and just fall out. And then some people were really tough, and you sit there and blow bubble after bubble and see how many you could do. So it was a fun challenge. But yeah, listen, I'm not.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wish people could throw more suggestions out because every single thing you can think of has been heated. Everything.
Wow. That's impressive.
It's crazy, yeah.
Yeah. So going back to the channel, we all know that you publish regular videos on your channel, Chase the Heat. How did you get the idea for that? Was it like something that you all were thinking about and just you stumbled upon it? I know you talked a little bit more about it.
That's a good question. Really, that's such a great question. Here's how it happened. I was divorced from my kid's mom, and it was my weekend with my week with the kids, and the weekend was there. And I've been a chili head just forever, and I was watching chili channels. There was about a half a dozen, maybe a dozen, on YouTube. And I'd watch them all the time because they were great. A couple of them were very comical. Some were funny. They were informational. And I was watching a guy one day eat 2 chocolate bootlas. And I knew it was going to be a problem for him because the guy didn't have the highest tolerance. And that's a very, very hot pepper. So my daughter, who was at the time, she must have been 10 or 11. She was a little girl, I said, honey, come here. You got to see it. It's hilarious. And she goes over and sits next to me. And as soon as she does, he let loose a string of obscenities. And I don't curse in front of my kids. I never did. I don't. I've made 4,340 videos on my channel. I've never cursed once. I don't curse. So when she heard that, it was devastating because I never said those words in front of her. She was little. She wasn't in school yet, so she hadn't heard those words, and it was just like I couldn't, like an idiot. I tried to rewind it, like that would somehow help. I went, honey, I'm so sorry. I stopped the video. I said, honey, I'm so sorry. And I remember right then and there, I thought there's no pepper channel about spicy stuff that's fun, that's entertaining, and that kids can watch. And that's kind of what was my motivation.
What about the name? Was there any inspiration behind the name, or was that just something you came up with on the fly?
It's really a funny thing. I never had a long list and a short list. I sat down. I said to my son, he had to help me set up. I didn't know how to make a video. I mean, I know now I made thousands of them, but at the time I didn't. So he had to help me do that. And he goes, "We need a name for your channel." And I just said, "Chase the Heat." And he asked me why. I'm like, like everybody marches to the beat of their own drummer. Well, everybody chases the heat the very same way. Some people, it doesn't matter whether if jalapeno is your max or if you just like black pepper. It doesn't matter. If you have even if you don't have to be a raging chili head to chase the heat. So that was just the way the name I chose. I don't know. I didn't have any other. It just came really quickly and it stuck.
Okay, cool.
That makes sense. All right, so here's the question. You've tried some of the spiciest peppers in the world, including the Carolina Reaper and the Trinidad Morago. Can you describe the sensation of eating some of these peppers? And how do you prepare yourself mentally and how do you prepare yourself physically for these challenges?
Sure. Let's talk first about what they do to you. Peppers are very interesting. All peppers burn differently. Like, for instance, if you eat a Carolina Reaper or a 7-pot Primo. Those are 2 peppers that have a very unusual characteristic, is that when you chew one and eat one, your mouth won't even burn. But your throat is going to feel like there's a blowtorch on it. For some reason, it bypasses your mouth and just cripples your throat. You won't even feel it in your mouth at all. Ghost peppers, and it's a quick, very, very fast attack. You eat it and immediately your throat's on fire. With a ghost pepper, it's slow and creeping. It burns your tongue and starts building. It will start on your tongue and burn your back, and your whole tongue will be on fire. That's about it. Maybe the sides of your mouth. But peppers burn differently. So, like for a Carolina Reaper, now they say it's the Guinness Book of World Records hottest pepper in the world. It's not the hottest pepper. but when you eat one of those, it's funny. I've been doing it for so long that what I would experience is vastly different from what somebody who's not used to would experience. Like for me, I taste a very fruity pepper. It's fruity. It's it's just incredible tasting, kind of floral notes. And the burn is different for me. I've been doing this for so long. If I eat a Carolina Reaper, on my pain scale of 1 to 10, it only gets to about a 2.
Wow.
Now,
Oh my.
to somebody else, to somebody who's not eaten a pepper before, that's like, if you've never eaten hot stuff, that's a 20. That's a moment, an experience you will carry with you till your grave. You will never forget it. So what happens is the burn is just overwhelming. Like, somebody that's not used to it will not taste any of the things that I told you I taste, because your brain can only handle one thing at one time. And if you're dealing with pain, you can't stop that process. And okay, what am I tasting here? You're overrun with pain. You're not thinking about flavor at all. So that's one of the nice things about having a very high tolerance to heat, is my window of to taste things is wide open. I taste things like when I taste there's a pepper called a Killer Yellow. It's a yellow primatale. I ate 2 over the weekend. They're so citrusy. They taste like a little bit of lemon, a little bit of sugar inside this piping hot pepper that's almost as hot as a Reaper. It's just an incredible pepper. But if you gave that pepper to somebody who's not a chili head, and I said, you taste the citrus, you taste the sweetness, they just go,
They look at you like you're crazy.
they call me a liar. So how it is for different people. Like, if I eat a lot of them, like over the weekend, I ate 10 dragon's breath peppers, which are very, very hot. And when you eat a lot of them, something very special happens. Your body, it's a very traumatic experience for your body. Even though intellectually I've done it thousands of times, I know it's not going to hurt me. I'm not worried about it. There's no trauma. I'm not emotionally tense about it. You know what I mean? I'm not nervous. But my body doesn't know that. So when I eat these 10 peppers, my body is going through a traumatic experience. And it thinks it's dying, essentially. And it floods my body with endorphins. And I'll have like this past weekend, I had a pain scale of my pain was about 5, which is really high for me. It's like 15 for somebody else. And when I ate the 10th pepper, my pain dropped to a 1, like that. The pain just disappears because I'm floating with endorphins. My ears are ringing. It's a euphoric, the closest description of, if you could try to relate to it with a pharmaceutical, would be any opiate, like a Percocet, for real, heroin. I'm not trying to, it feels just like that. It really does. It really, really does. So that's one of, there are a lot of wonderful benefits about peppers that a lot of people never talk about. It's incredible. It speeds up your metabolism, so it's a good fat burner. It builds your immune system. I've been sick once in the last decade. It's an incredible painkiller. I used to go to a pain management clinic because I've broken my back and I've had so many surgeries. I don't take anything stronger than BC powder because peppers will do it. If I eat 2 or 3 peppers in the morning, I don't feel anything all day long for pain at all. And I'm telling you, this is a guy who used to eat. I used to go through a tube of Percocets that high in a week, just to get through the week. And now, fast forward 10 years, and peppers are all I need.
That's funny. That's amazing. So, would you say that peppers are a great way to just like de-stress the body, I guess? Because I guess that's what you're kind of getting at, right? Like the pain subsides. You feel that euphoric high, which I'm assuming is like calming.
It does. It has a calming effect. It's on a really good one, it can be even an hour later, the lingering effects will still be there. It'll be really strong for about 15 minutes. It'll go away, but it's just a beautiful feeling. I mean, there's more vitamin C in a pepper than there is in 3 California oranges. I don't mean a super hot pepper. I mean any pepper. They're loaded with vitamin C. They're such a great thing to eat. And you know what? It brings people together. I mean, I never ever thought my channel would be a success, and now there's like almost 124,000 people that have subscribed. So, obviously it's something that's growing and it brings people together. It's just a fun thing and it's healthy. If it was something that wasn't healthy, I would have died already. But fortunately, it's a very healthy thing.
I have a question actually, because I was wondering this. So bell peppers aren't really spicy, right? Is bell pepper technically a pepper, or is that just like called a pepper?
No, it's a pepper. It is a pepper. Okay. Oh yeah, you bet. Yeah, it's a capsicum. I love. Can I tell you something? It's one of my favorite peppers. I'm typecast. You know, like actors can be typecast. I'm typecast. Like I'll go to a restaurant, somebody will recognize me, and they'll, you want the hottest thing here? I'm like, no. My go-to stuff isn't necessarily the hottest stuff ever. Bell peppers are one of my favorites. I love them, especially like orange or yellow. Oh, they're like candy. They're like candy. I just love them. And that's to me like if you can look up in the sky on a clear night and see the stars, and like some people can look up in the sky and see God in the heavens. I would see it in peppers, man. Listen, there are over 5,000 different strains of peppers. Yellow and peach colored, orange, red, chocolate, mustard, white, and every one of them have different characteristics, different shapes. Some have tails. They're just the most unique things, and every one of them to me is a work of art. They're just absolutely beautiful to me. That's incredible.
That's amazing.
I'm a pepper nerd.
You know that.
I'm a pepper nerd. I really am.
No, I love hearing all about that and seeing you.
Oh, you
get
asked me a
excited
question
about these
earlier,
peppers.
Deepak. How do I prepare for a challenge?
Yes,
Some
yes.
people have a regiment that they do. Like I was in a contest in New Zealand, and the guy that I was competing with, we were hanging out, we're friends, you know. But before, he goes, "What are you eating?" I said, "I'm not eating anything. I don't prep before a big contest because if I prep, I'm taking up room that I need pepper to make space for peppers. I don't have room." Well, he knew he wasn't going to make it to the end, so he wanted to kind of prepare himself. So he ate a whole can of creamed corn. But he does that every single time. That's what he does. I know some people who eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich every single time. If it's a big pepper contest, like a contest where I'm competing with a lot of people, I'm going to eat an upwards of 50 peppers, super hots, in one contest.
Oh, wow.
If I eat a ham sandwich, like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or a can of corn, creamed corn, before a chili contest, I'll be stuffed after 30 peppers. So for a big contest like that, I don't prep at all. But for smaller stuff, I absolutely prep. But with me, I don't have a regimen. I don't have a specific thing. As long as there's something in my stomach, I'm usually good. But that's one of the other things that we haven't talked about yet, or one of the bane of every chili head are capsaicin cramps. And what that happens is when you have an overload of capsaicin, you have these unbelievable cramps. I don't know if you've ever experienced, either one of you guys have ever experienced it before, but I'm a pretty eloquent guy. I don't have the words to describe it. I competed with a person in several chili contests. She's a woman. She's amazing. She's a mom of 4 kids. She has said on 2 different occasions, once on film, that capsaicin cramps are worse than childbirth. And
Wow.
Oh my God.
I've had them sometimes, and what'll happen is your stomach will seize up and cramp up and just lock up like that, and you won't be able to move. And I mean, your knees will pull up to your chest, and you can't even straighten out. And sometimes it'll last just for 15 or 20 minutes, and it'll go away. On the worst time I ever had with it, I drank a bottle of plutonium extract. It was 9 million Scoville. I drank the whole bottle. Not one of my finest moments. And I had the first wave came in, the first cap cramp came in, and I swear to you, I'm telling the truth. God take me. The first cramps came in, and they lasted for 16 hours. It was seized up and didn't go away. It let up after 16 hours.
Wow, that is
God.
Lasted a day.
huge
They
period of
lasted
time.
almost a whole day of it. I had 911
Brutal.
queued up on my phone because I couldn't drive. I could not straighten out to drive. I almost called 911, but here's the problem with that. The reason I didn't is I'm connecting the dots in my head before. The ambulance will show up, and my neighbors will all see it. It doesn't look good. They know I'm a chili head. They put me in the back of the ambulance. They'll take me to a hospital, the emergency room. And the doctor's going to say to me, "What did you do? Why are you like this? What happened?" I'll say, "Well, I drank a bottle of plutonium." And they'll say, "Plutonium?" I'll say, no, not that plutonium. Plutonium, it's a chili extract. It's 9 million Scoville extract. You drank that. And I'd say, yeah. And they'd say, on purpose. I said, well, yeah, I have a YouTube channel. And they'd give me some milk. They'd give me some milk, and they'd tell me to ride it out. Tough guy. That's what they do. Here's the thing: they wouldn't pump your stomach because that would be more traumatic to your body than just passing it. It just takes some time to pass it. Just So I've never gone to a hospital for it, but that was the closest I've come. That was nightmarish. The next day.
Oh my God.
True story. The next day, I smelled my arm. Look at that. I smelled my arm, and I could smell extract. Like not peppers, but I could smell extract. I'm not joking. It almost made me sick. It was terrible.
Oh my God. That is brutal, but also an amazing story.
That's really interesting. So I know, Johnny, you have a hot sauce company, right? Do you have any signature products that you'd like to share with our listeners here?
You know what? Everything we have, I'm proud of everything we have. I mean, look, I've been on social media before where people will say, hey, what's your favorite hot sauce? And hot sauce makers will say, plug their own sauce. I'm not that guy. My favorite hot sauces in the world probably aren't even my own hot sauces, but we make very good hot sauces. And we've won awards for several of them. The hot sauce that I'm really just, it has a special place in my heart is our first one we ever made. And it's called Penango. It's a pineapple mango reaper sauce. Oh. And it's got lime and lemon in it and Vidalia onion. It's so spectacular on ice cream. Don't judge. Try it first. I'm not kidding you. It's such a nice. It's amazing on pizza or.
I can actually imagine that because it's a tropical flavor, right? You said lime and pineapple, so I can imagine it actually being decent on ice cream.
We won an award for best Mediterranean style sauce for that at Dallas Zest Fest. Took first place, which was very cool. But the other thing that I'm really more known for are the challenges I do. I do a lot of crazy stuff. We have a product we came out with about, must be almost 3 years now. It's funny. This is how we became partners. A guy called me. I'd followed him. I'd done a few reviews for some of his products. His name is David Foy. He owns Blazing Foods. He had come up with a product called the Death Nut Challenge. Very famous. Ooh. And he asked me early on if I was one of the first people to ever review it. I'd say, sure. Ironically, he and I started my channel the exact same time he started Blazing Foods. We just didn't know each other. So after he watched my channel for like a year or so, maybe in 2 years, and then he called me one day. He's like, it was funny. I'll never forget it. He says, we introduced each other, talked for a little bit. He goes, man, you've done something that's almost impossible. I said, yeah, what's that? He said, you're a brand. You don't even have anything to sell. You're actually a brand. Just be yourself. Because if we had some products to put underneath you, you could live on the thing that you love so much. You can make a living at. I said that sounds interesting. So nothing happened, and then maybe a few months went by, and he called me and says, "All right, Johnny." He goes, "It's Foy. I got an idea." I said, "What's your idea?" He goes, "You want to do a collaboration?" I said, "Sure. Why not?" And he said, "What do you want to do?" I said, "Well, you're the peanut guy. I think we ought to do a hot peanut collaboration." So he said yes. And you know, I may have a tube. Oh wait, hold on. Oh, good. I have one right here. I didn't think I did. I'm so excited. This is it. It's called the Tube of Terror.
Ooh.
And it is.
Oh, you can see your face on it too, right? Yep. Your face is on it.
Yeah.
You bet. So anyway, he said to me. He said he didn't come up with this at first. He goes, "We'll just do the hottest peanut challenge." I said, "Great." So he goes, and at that time I was living in Reno. He was living in South Carolina. He said, "I'll send you some peanuts." So he sent me some nuts, and he goes, "Call me before you eat it." So it would arrive. I'd put I gave him on the phone. "Are you ready?" He'd say, "Yeah." I put it in my mouth. I'd chew it twice. I said, "It's not hot enough." He goes, "You don't even know yet." I said, "No, trust me, it's not. If it's going to be a challenge, it's not hot enough." And we did this back and forth. He must have sent me 5 or 6 different peanuts. Then one day he sent me a peanut. And I got him on the phone. I said, "You ready? Here we go." And I said, I spit it out. I said, "That's plutonium. You soaked in plutonium." He goes, "You're right. I did." I said, "That's not going to work. It tastes like poison, man." So I said to him, I said, "Here's what we need to do. There's a product called it's a different company, but I'm not going to mention the company, but it's pure capsaicin crystals. 0 flavor at all. Just searing heat, 16 million Scoville heat. So we can jack the heat up on the peanuts without altering the flavor profile whatsoever." He said, "I'll look into it." So about a week later, I get a peanut in the mail. I call him on the phone. I put it in my mouth. I'm like, I chewed up for a second. I said, "It's too hot." It was the hottest thing. He goes, excuse me? He goes, what did you say? I said, it's too hot. He goes, I've never heard you say that. I said, I don't think I've ever said that before. He goes, why do you say it's too hot? I said, because my picture's going to be on it, right? He goes, right. I said, well, I got to do it then. I said, I don't think I could do a whole challenge of this. So then he came up with the idea of the tube of terror. I was sitting at the kitchen table one day, and he called me. He goes, I need a picture for the tube of terror, Johnny. So I gave my dad this phone, and I said, Dad, will you do me a favor, take a picture? I had my beard braided. I pointed at the camera. He took one picture, and that's how this thing came to be. And initially, it was we bought 1,000 tubes, and that was going to be it. And the day before the launch, I called him. I said, hey, I have a question. He goes, what? I said, what happens if people actually buy these things? What happens if we sell 1,000? He goes, you want to keep selling them? I said, well, let's see what happens. So we launched it, and a bunch of people bought it, and it kind of had a slow start, but it just, right now, it has the most legendary name online. If you go to YouTube and you type in Tube of Terror, you could spend the next 3 days, easy, 24 hours a day, the next 3 days watching Tube of Terror videos. And if you type in Tube of Terror fail, I would say that 7 out of 10 people that try this fail. It's
oh my God.
Listen to what's on there. Just to make it real quick, I'll tell you what's on here, since we're talking about peppers. But there's Carolina Reapers, ghost peppers, chocolate bootlas, 7-pot brain strain, 7-pot douglas, Moruga scorpion. On top of that, 16 million Scoville capsaicin crystals. So we did this, and we've since sold tons of them. And we sold them all over the world. And there are videos of people in different countries. I don't even speak in our language. Some of the funny stories, when we first launched it, it was right before Christmas. A guy buys it, and he messages me, and I get an email, and he says, Johnny, I bought 2 of your tubes of terror, and they were delivered. And it's being marked delivered. I think a porch pirate stole it. Will you replace them? This is a true story. He goes, will you replace them? I said, well, it's, not really falling on me. We delivered. I made the peanuts, and we delivered. They delivered them. We did our part. So let me talk to my partner. So I talked to my partner, and we decided we were going to send him 2 more anyway. Goodwill. So before we could ship them, I get another email from him. He goes, you're not going to believe what happened. I said, what happened? He goes to work. He comes back the next day, and there's the tube of terror back on his porch. It had been opened. One tube had been opened, and a few peanuts were missing. The other one was sealed. Whoever stole it brought them back. So there's some very. But listen, there are 5 videos on YouTube where people begin the video eating these in their kitchen. It's a fun, happy video, and they end the video climbing into the back of an ambulance. 5. So if you go buy these on our website, there's a very, very extensive, incredible, ironclad, bulletproof waiver to protect me in case somebody pranks somebody or somebody gets hurt, because there's no peppers hot enough to kill somebody. And not that these could kill somebody, but these could really hurt somebody. My son, his senior year in high school, brought one of these to school. I sent it to him just so he could put it on a shelf. He gave it to, I don't know how many kids he gave it to, but every single one threw up and ended up in the nurse's office. So after 3 years of that, we came out with this one. And this is the Tube of Terror 2.0, and instead of peanuts, it's corn nugs.
Oh.
Same thing. Okay. And the way it works is this: with both of these, you have 10 minutes to eat the entire tube with no drink. At the conclusion of the test, you can't eat with this one. You can't eat more than 2 peanuts at a time. So you got to put 2 peanuts in your mouth, eat them, and so you shovel them in. You can't do more than 2 at a time. At the end of the 10 minutes, you start a 5-minute suffer session. No relief, no water, nothing to eat. Same thing with this. The only difference with this one is you can eat these as fast as you want.
Ooh.
That's where we catch it. People think you can eat these fast, but when you put a handful of these in and chew them up fast, it's like you have sawdust in your mouth. And it's hot, molten hot sawdust, and it's very hard to swallow. So technique comes into play, but these are the products that people have the most fun with. Anyway, I didn't mean to take up so much time showing you those. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that was great.
No, it's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good. Thanks for sharing that.
Of course.
I wanted to ask one more question here. I know prior to the recording here, we were talking about some challenges you did for competitions where you ate a pepper while skydiving. Would you like to share that story?
Yeah, that was fun. I did that. I did a Netflix special, and they were going to be. They told me when they were going to be filming, and they were going to be in the. They want to come to my home and like set up shop for a couple of days and follow me around with a camera and everything. And so I decided that while they were there, I was going to jump out of an airplane. And when I first told them, they weren't so happy about it. They didn't like the idea about it at all. I'm like, I'm doing it. It's I'm the one that signs the waiver, not you guys. Don't sweat it. So I went there and did it. They actually had a Netflix. What they did was they had a skydiver at the drop zone. They, real quick blessed him and made him a Netflix camera. They, signed a waiver and he became a Netflix cameraman for one dive. But I went there and I was in Sierra Skydive in Reno, which is probably not the ideal place to do this because the runway is already almost at a mile high anyway. So you can only go up to about 11,000, 12,000 feet. And that's as high as you can go. If you go at sea level, you can go up to 18,000 feet. So we went up to 11,000. It was funny when I called them. I said, I want to jump out of a plane and eat peppers. They said, "Excuse me."
Yeah, I'm just imagining the reaction. She's like, "Wait, what?" Probably did a double do.
She goes, "Pardon me, what?" I said, "Listen, I want to jump out. Use your site. I want to do a skydive and eat 10 of the hottest peppers while I'm skydiving." She goes, "You can't do that." I said, "I can't do that because you have a rule that I can't do it, or you don't think I can do it." She goes, "I don't think you could do it." I said, "Just don't miss the shot. I'll see you on the weekend." So I showed up, and it was a tandem deal where I'm attached to somebody, and she's like, it was a woman. She's like, "You want to do what?" I said, "It'll work. Just trust me." So we got in the plane, and they all thought I was nuts, It was a teeny little Cessna. We got up to 11 or 12,000 feet. And that's the scary part, because I'm not a skydiver. I eat peppers. That was way out of my comfort zone, So, and that the whole time the camera's going, the whole thing, I was focused just on not looking terrified. I didn't want to look terrified. So we went out. We did a couple flips, and I had I had one pepper in my mouth when we left the plane. I had 2 in each hand, and I had 5 more in a pair of cargo short pockets. So we did a couple flips, and I was chewing the first one. As soon as we went out, we leveled off, and and that was the hard part because you're going really fast.
Yeah.
Chewing
is hard.
I practiced sitting out of a sunroof eating peppers, but I didn't go 120 miles an hour. So I did it. The chute opened, and once the chute opened, I had all of the first 10. I had the first 5 I had swallowed before the chute even opened. But I couldn't. I was too worried about pulling them out, so I waited till the canopy opened, and then I ate the other 5. So that made it into the Netflix special. So yeah, it was kind of crazy. I did that because nobody else had done that before. I like doing stuff nobody's even thought of, and that was one that nobody had thought of.
That is, I have never heard that. So you are definitely right. I wonder if that's like a Guinness World Record actually, most amount of peppers eaten while skydiving.
I've done it now twice for the channel. I did it once with 3 peppers and once with 10. And I submitted a form with Guinness to try to have them make that a category, but nothing came of it.
That's too bad. I think you deserve a Guinness World Record for that one, though.
That's very Guinness. You got to take Guinness for what it is. Listen, this is the truth of it. When you're like 8 years old and you're sitting on your couch and your feet stick out because they aren't long enough to float down, and you got a book this big on your lap, and you're looking at the fattest twins that ride mini bikes, or the biggest, longest fingernails, or the tallest person, or the shortest person. That's a cool book. But when you get older, you realize that it's just a marketing company. And that's the truth of it. Let me tell you something. For instance, they say that the hottest pepper in the world is the Carolina Reaper. I've eaten 6 or 7 peppers that are hotter. If I take a pepper to Guinness Book to submit it, there's a huge fee to submit a pepper, just to submit it. If I win, it's $25,000 a year for me to be able to say it out loud or in print that I have a Guinness record holder. If I don't pay them that 25 grand, but I still have the record and they catch me saying it, you know what they do, right? I end up in a courtroom. It's a marketing. All it is, it's a marketing company. So what ends up happening is this. The people that have grown hotter peppers, and there are a handful of them. The hottest pepper right now is a Primatale. No 2 ways about it. I know. It's a 7-pot Primo crossed with a Primatale. It's way hotter than a Reaper. But at any rate, the people that grow these peppers, there's backyard growers. This is a guy who works at Joe Job during the day. He sees his plants only on the weekends. He made a hot pepper. He can't throw 25 grand at that. He just has a hobby.
Right.
So what ends up happening is there are hotter peppers out there, many hotter, but everybody still thinks the Reaper is, and that's okay. It is what it is.
Oh,
There's some
wow.
people in certain places that still think the Ghost Pepper's the hottest pepper.
So it sounds like it's almost like a patent, right? Where it's like, unless you file for it and do all the paperwork and all the fees, it's like you can't really get the benefit of all that.
I don't think he can patent a plant is a thing. So what he's done is,
No. Johnny, I'm referring to like the Guinness World Record. It's like a patent, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. It's under control. It's absolutely. I mean, unless you pay them, you can't do a thing. So, I've competed with it twice to try to beat a Guinness Book World Record, eating the most Reapers in 60 seconds.
Oh, wow.
That's my nemesis. Is I'm slow. I can eat more than a lot of people, but I'm not fast. And I've never won. But I don't really, I know Guinness for what they are, so I'm not too. Some people, it's really important to have a record.
Right.
But here's the deal, though. If you do have a record, do you have any idea how that translates into money?
I have no idea.
No.
Oh, he can say every place you'll ever go where there's Reaper, anybody selling anything with Reaper in. This is the Guinness World Record. You hear it at every pepper show that anybody's selling anything with a Reaper.
Oh.
Every one of those people
It's marketing.
Every one of those people knows it's no longer the hottest pepper, but they say it anyway because the average person's walking into a pepper show that doesn't know anything about hot sauce, hears the Guinness book, wants to buy that and bring it to his buddies at the office. That's what happens.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, that's very interesting. So, yeah, you're right. It sounds like it's all for the marketing rights. It's like you want to have the ability to sell more, so just people know Guinness. By the fact that you're allowed to say that, you can sell a lot more.
You can sell more. Yeah, it's a marketing.
It really is, and I just, it is what it is. So I have some people, I know some people that are chasing that record, but I just chase the next hottest pepper. I don't care if it's a record or not. I just want to eat another hot pepper.
Right. So Johnny, you're also shooting another show for one of the largest streaming networks out there. So tell us a little bit more about that. What is the show about? What's your role? And what is
It's
it?
a funny thing because I was originally pitched the idea either right after or right before Netflix. So it was years ago that they first pitched me the idea, and I was like, yeah, I'm in. It was I'm not even going to tell you what it was about then. I will. It was about a controversy between the Carolina Reaper and a pepper called the 7-Pot Primo. There are those in the chili world who say they're the same pepper, and that one of those two people stole it from the other. That's what the word on the street is. That was originally what that show was going to be about, and I was going to be in that show because I've eaten a million peppers. And so I said yes to it. Now, fast forward a couple of years, I get a call 6 months ago, and they say, hey, remember us? I said, hey, I do. I totally forgot about it. I don't chase anybody. I absolutely forgot about them. So when they called back, I was stunned. Totally out of the blue. I'm like, yeah, I remember you guys. They're like, we're doing it again, but it's a little bit different. And I said, okay, what is it? And they said, it's not really about that pepper. It's going to be a part of it, but it's more or less just about the chili world, the quest for the hottest pepper, and people that make their lives in the chili industry. I said, you had me at peppers. I'm in.
I like that answer.
I was originally only going to be in a couple shoots as how it was expressed to me or explained to me. And then I got to Dallas for the first shoot, and they hooked you up with a mic and stuff. And because of Netflix, I kind of been down that road before. I've had cameramen follow me around and stuff. So, but it was a zoo, and it was crazy, and it exploded. And they're like, can you make it to the next? We want you in New Orleans. I said, okay. Now we want you in Pittsburgh. I said, okay. Now we want you in Florida. I said, okay. So there's been 38 days of filming so far, and I've been on 26 of them. About the chili world, but my part ends up being a part that interweaves throughout all 10 episodes and kind of holds it all together.
I see.
So I initially was just going to have a small role, I'm now like one of them, one of the significant cast members. So it's been really fun, and the great thing is, at the end of every day, they send the dailies to the platform that bought this reality show.
I see.
And they're really excited about it, and they're happy. They think it's going to be great. So everybody, and I'm sure that on shoots like this, they're pumping ether into the room. They want everybody happy, smiling. So I'm sure they're all going to say they're going to love it. We're going to get a second season, but they all are very confident that people are going to like it. It's going to go to a season 2. So hopefully it does.
Oh yeah,
I see.
I'm looking forward to when it drops. And
Yeah.
the Netflix original, I don't think we mentioned a name on the recording here.
called
For
We
those
Are
of you that are interested, it's called We Are the Champions, I believe, right?
Yeah, it's a funny thing. It's like a 10-series documentary, a docu-series about crazy challenges from around the world and the lunatics, like me, that do them. Like the very first, listen, it's really funny. The very first one is an episode of, it's about, have you ever seen, it's crazy. People in southern England have a round disc, a wheel of cheese, and they let it roll down a hill, and these lunatics run down the hill chasing after it. Have you ever seen this?
It sounds familiar. I don't think I've seen it,
There
but
are
it sounds
people that
familiar.
there are people that watching this. They'll say, "Oh my God, I know what he's talking about." It happens every year in England. It's a famous thing. It's against the law technically, and they're not allowed to do it. But it's one of those nudge, nudge, wink, wink. They kind of run off into the woods and do it. But it's crazy. People get hurt. This shoot this year when they filmed, or this year when they filmed it, then at that time, the girl who won broke her leg in the process. One person has lost their life doing it. Not that year, but a previous year where the wheel of cheese. He was a spectator. The wheel comes down. It's going 60 or 70 miles an hour. It hit him right in the face. But it's you know what the winner gets?
What?
The wheel of cheese. But these people, no, it's crazy. That's what I'm saying. It's so psychotic that you can't turn away. It's like when we're done, you guys are gonna go Google it. You have to just say the cheese, chasing the wheel of cheese down the hill. There are hours and hours of videos, and these you know what happens when you run down a hill, right? You can't run down a hill. And these people are
you
running,
trek.
and they all go head over
falling.
heels. And it's just. And there are other crazy ones, and I think We Are the Champions is the second in that. So if you look forward, it's the second one.
Okay.
But all of them are worth watching. They're all crazy.
Right, I am definitely gonna have to check this out after this now.
Yeah, I'll check it out as well. Okay, so switching gears a little bit, you talked about this in the past as well, and obviously you have a huge tolerance for peppers that are out there. So, but what advice do you have for somebody who's just starting their journey in the world of spicy foods, right? And what are some of the things that you wish you'd known when you had started?
Well, that's a great question. It's such an important question too, because if you do it the wrong way, somebody can have a bad experience and just walk away from it forever. I would hate to have that happen. I want to share it because it's a beautiful, healthy, wonderful thing, you know. But the best advice is start small. Listen, you can go into a gym and see a guy with arms like Popeye that can bench press a Volkswagen. He didn't start off that way. He started off bench pressing 60 pounds or 70 pounds, and he built up slowly. It's the same thing. And you can become a raging chilihead and never really hurt yourself that bad. Or that's why I'm really against pranking. People will prank people. You know, put something in somebody's food and not tell them. That could give somebody a very adverse reaction. Even if it doesn't hurt them physically, they could just say, "I've never eaten that again," and that would be a tragedy. So, here's what you got to remember: you can always eat more, but once you've eaten too much, you're strapped in that ride, and you ain't getting off. And if it hurts, it hurts, and there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, you can drink milk, and then milk and drinking stuff only really helps you while the liquid's in your mouth. The minute you swallow it, it ignites back up again. Yeah. So there's not much you can do. So. You just got to meet yourself and go carefully. You know, and most people are, and that's a dangerous thing nowadays because when I started out, all there was jalapenos. Maybe you'd see some habaneros once in a while. We're in a day and age now where you can see reapers in grocery stores, and kids don't know. They had a big problem with the last one chip challenge where kids were getting them in high school, doing it at lunch at high school. Getting sick, barfing a blue chip everywhere and going to the nurse's office. It happened so often that there were school districts that were banning it. So the problem is you get young kids, and a lot of times I would say the greatest segment of the chili head population are men, probably 90%, 95 probably. And I don't know why that is. I think women have a higher tolerance. The times I've lost the most in the chili contest are the women. True story. So I think they have a better tolerance, but I think maybe it's the thrill-seeking type of personality is usually male. But a lot of those kids think they have something to prove. I'll be at a chili festival, and somebody will walk up to the booth, and I'll have stuff that will curl your hair I mean, all the stuff that'll blow your hair back. I don't want to hurt you, though. So people walk up. We call them capsaicin cowboys. They'll walk up and say, what's the hottest thing you got? I'll say, hey, we got some stuff here that's really hot, but why don't we start with something mild? And they'll say, well, no, I want something hot. And I'll say, well, let's start with something mild first. And they'll say, why? I'm like, well, first of all, I don't want to hurt you. Second of all, I'd like maybe to sell you something. And if I give you this thing over here, you're going to run off and I won't see you again until tomorrow, where you'll come back and you'll get a good laugh with me. But let's start small. And I have some people that just insist they want the hottest thing. And I've had some horror stories. We've only had, in the 7 years I've been doing this, we've only had one show ever that we didn't send somebody to a hospital. And that was the last show that I attended. And he was in the ambulance for 20 minutes, and they let him back out, and they let him home. But he almost went every single time, because they go to a booth and they'll eat something hot, and it hasn't hit him yet. And they'll go to another booth and they'll eat something hot, and that stuff starts building up. And before you know it, they have calf cramps. I mean, it's a freak show. It's a horror show at pepper shows, because you have these people that have no knowledge of what they're doing, and they can get hurt. I've seen. We had a really funny story I'll tell you. We were in Dallas at Dallas Zest Fest. I'm with my business partner, David. This woman walks up. She's hilarious. She goes, I want the hottest thing you got. I said, sweetheart, let's start small. So she does a couple of small ones. She goes, look, I don't have time. Give me the hottest thing you got. So my business partner goes, okay, here you go. And gives her a peanut out of this. One peanut. One out of this. She chews it up. She's with a girlfriend of hers. She chews it up. Her eyes get watery. She turns around and makes a beeline across the convention center to where the bathrooms are. I looked at my partner. I went, I don't think that went so well. The next day, we're at the booth, getting ready to open up. It's morning, right before the place opens. She must have been like the first person in. I said, "Uh-oh, David, here she comes. Remember her from yesterday? She's walking right through." I won't say what she said because I've never cursed in a video, but she said she hated me. She goes, I had plans, and she was doing this all like angry, but sort of jokingly at the same time. She goes, I had plans last night. I was going to dinner. She goes, let me tell you what happened. I ate that peanut, one of those peanuts, went across to the bathroom with my girlfriend. I got into the stall. I took all my clothes off. I hid into my girlfriend under the stall and sat in there for an hour. I couldn't move. And she said she went home and she had plans to go to dinner, and she went to the urgent care because her stomach was hurting her so bad.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Those are very real things. They happen at every show. Mm-hmm. Every single pepper show I've ever been at, someone's going away in an ambulance. And it's all because usually it's weird, and there are people that will surprise you. The very last show, the same show that I almost sent the guy to the hospital, this woman comes up and she starts eating. She's handling these peanuts like a champ. Starts small. She's working her way up. She gets she eats one of these. As I'm giving her the hottest peanut, she's looking straight at me, right? I'm just seeing her face. She has a bag in front of her. Person next to me goes, Johnny. I said, what? He went, she's pregnant. I went, what? I put my head to the side. I couldn't see because she was looking straight at me. I couldn't tell. She turns to the side and she is like 9 months pregnant. I went, honey, you're pregnant.
Oh, man.
I said, you're pregnant. She goes, is that bad? I said, well, no, it's a beautiful thing, but I can't believe you're eating hot stuff. Do you really like hot stuff? She goes, yeah, it's not too bad. I was just like, the rest of the day, everywhere she walked, my eyes were on her. I just want to make sure because I watched people walk 10 feet away and fall down. And I didn't want that to happen. I was terrified. But when she said she's pregnant, I almost had a stroke because she had already eaten 3 or 4 of the lesser heat ones and had just put in her mouth the hottest peanut in the world. But she handled it like a rock star. So you get surprised sometimes. The funny thing you get is a lot of I'm from so-and-so, and we grew up on peppers. I give them one and it kills them. Women have the highest tolerance. They just do.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
I've seen
They have the superior genes when it comes to peppers.
I guess it's the pain tolerance too, right? It's like high pain tolerance translates to high heat tolerance, I guess.
You know what? See, my thing is this. I get asked that, like, in 7 years of doing this, the question that I'm probably asked, I get asked, like, what's the hottest pepper? But I get asked, why? Why do you do what you do? I get that asked so much. And here's the thing, and I'm telling you the truth. The first time I ever said this on video, my mom, who never watches my videos, she stopped watching it after the skydiving one. She watches a video where I happen to say, I'm just being really honest with the people that watch me. I'm a very honest guy. I have a different relationship with pain than most people. Most people run from it. I enjoy pain. I know it's uncomfortable to say sometimes. I'm used to saying it now. I've been saying it for a long time. My mom heard that and almost had a stroke. She was so upset when I heard that. I don't like heartache. I don't like headaches. I don't like backaches. But apart from that, there's not much injury that I can sustain that I can't find something pleasure about. Maybe not in the moment, but in the recovery and in the pain. I thought the one time I've been sick in the last 10 years, I had the flu. It wasn't the big C, but it was just the regular flu. But I had the most savage body aches, and everybody's crying about body aches. I was like, oh wow, I enjoy pain. So but here's the thing, I wasn't always like that. And eating peppers and doing what I do for a living has really changed my relationship with pain, which is a really beautiful thing. Because I'll tell you something. Like if you play I play on a high school football team. If you play on a high school football team and you never go to practice ever, and you just show up on game day, you're gonna have a bad day because you're not prepared. Well, one of the things about life is we break down, we die, things fall apart. Pain is inevitable, and if you've run from pain your whole life and you've hid from it and you're scared of it, when that day comes, and rest assured, I swear to you, it's coming. You're going to be way more scared. It's going to hurt you a lot more. And the thing about pain is the fear of, is it going to get worse? Where is this going to go? When that day comes in my life, bring it. I have a very different, I'm not worried about that. So I think, I run at it instead of running from it. And I think it's already had a huge impact on my life because I've already had several injuries since I started the channel that some people would have thought were horrific or bad, and I thought were, once the initial injury was over, the healing part, and like the immediate after was wonderful. I know.
Amazing. Yeah,
it's
thank
weird.
you for sharing
I know
that.
it's weird. I mean, and I have people say you're a sadist. I'm like, no. You're the sadist. You're the one that likes watching me. I'm the masochist. See, I'm the one that likes because people always do that. They always get the word wrong. Every show I'm at, you're a sadist. And I was correct. I'm like, no, you're the sadist. You watch my channel, right? See, I'm the masochist. You're the sadist. Because people get it wrong. But I don't want to hurt anybody else, but I enjoy it a lot.
Awesome. All right, so Johnny, thanks so much for all of that. It's really fun conversation.
We took a
really
turn
fun.
at the end there, didn't we? I'm sorry.
No, it's nice actually. It keeps the conversation fresh. It goes in directions you didn't expect.
I'm honest, it is what it is.
It's so much delightful, honestly. So I guess we are actually ready to move into the next segment. It's called Rapid Fire. It's just for our listeners to get to know you better on a personal level. So what your preferences are and so on. So as the name suggests, first thing that comes to mind, let me know when you're ready. We'll just jump right in.
Let it rip.
All right. Let's start with an easy one. Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
All right. Mountains or beaches?
Beaches.
Okay. Morning person or night owl?
Both. Man, people hate me for that. I swear to you, I love mornings, and I stay up till I sleep 4 hours a night. So I'm kind of an odd duck that way. So I'm a morning guy and a night owl.
Oh my God.
So if you guys want to operate on less sleep, eat more peppers.
Yeah, it works for me. If I sleep 5 or 6 hours, I get a sleep hangover where I'm kind of groggy. All right, keep going.
Oh wow.
One second. Do peppers have caffeine in them? Just out of curiosity?
Nope.
Oh, they don't. Okay.
Okay. What's your favorite comfort food? Aside from peppers.
My mom's macaroni and cheese.
All right. Okay. What's your favorite virtue in others?
Oh boy, that's a good one. My first thought was kindness, but being genuine is such an important thing. Authenticity. That would be it. Authenticity.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. What's your biggest pet peeve?
I can't stand when people use incorrect English. When I grew up, seriously, speak the Queen's English. People don't speak, they don't speak proper English. It drives me crazy. I don't have a whole lot of things that I have hang-ups on. That's one thing. It doesn't. I don't even hear it that often, but sometimes you'll hear like, for instance, I'm going to give you a for instance. I was watching some. I don't have TV. I've had TV in 10 years, but I was recently somewhere where there was a TV, and there was somebody in government, high-level government, said, what is the word they used? They said irregardless. Now, that's like when I hear a person with a degree making a decent living use the word irregardless, I want to scream. That's not a word. Regardless. I just say regardless covers it. Why are you throwing the ear in the beginning? And things like that set me off. But other than that, I'm a pretty calm guy.
Awesome, awesome. What's your secret superpower?
Being able to keep my composure and still talk while in incredible pain.
Oh, okay.
Wow, that's definitely
People think
something
it's
I
eating, just my tolerance for heat. It's not, because there's a lot of people who can do what I do, but they can't talk when they do it. I can talk, and you won't even know what I'm doing, and that's my superpower.
Wow,
Oh, interesting.
awesome. All right, what's a superpower you wish you had? And this can be unrealistic as well.
Oh, man, I wish I could. I wish I could play guitar like Bumblefoot. I don't know if you know who Bumblefoot is. Bumblefoot is just a prodigy guitarist. He used to be with Guns N' Roses. He's just an amazing guitarist. He's a Chilean, ironically enough. He has a sauce company. I met him. I know him. He's a wonderful guy. But if I could trade what I do to be able to play like that in a minute.
Oh, really? So do you play the guitar, like in your free time?
Yep.
Okay, nice.
In fact, I was playing just seconds before before we started our podcast.
Oh,
Yeah, that's my
awesome.
thing. That's why
Okay.
I probably play 3 or 4 hours a day.
Okay, wow. So just out of curiosity, we're going a little bit on a tangent here, but do you ever play while eating a pepper or something like that for your channel?
I've done that a couple times. I've played probably like 80 times on the channel. Just play a short intro of a song everybody knows. I've done that like 80 times. So. But here's the truth of it. It brings me great joy. I'm just not very good at it,
Gotcha.
which is the reason I'd like to play like Bumblefoot. And it's funny too because we get together and hang out. He wants to be able to eat peppers like me, and I want to be able to play guitar like him.
awesome. All right, so this is not really a rapid fire question, but what are some of the future goals and aspirations of the YouTube channel, and how do you see your brand evolving in the years to come?
Boy, that's a great question. I'm in love, like big time in love, with the prettiest girl in Australia. And I'm having difficulty with the Australian government getting a visa. It's not that I'm not qualified. I'm absolutely qualified. It's just taking time. So my main goal right now is to get to Australia. We've been together 3 years. She's she's breathtaking. She has the cutest girls in the world, and that's where I'm supposed to be. So, and when I get there, she's a Chilean, which is fantastic. She used to be the editor-in-chief of the Chile magazine in Australia. So when I get there, the channel will continue, but there'll be the thumbnails will be a lot prettier. Let's put it that way. But long-term goals, I don't really know. It's really funny. Like when I started, you have to understand. Like the day one when I started my channel, they said, look, here's the deal. You're eating peppers. You're going to work your way up. You're going to get into a Netflix special. It's going to lead up to a reality show. And I would be handling all this really fine right now because for 7 years I would have been planning for it. All this stuff has been dumped on me and just kind of happened. Like I swear to you, it just sort of happened. So I don't know. I never thought I would have 100 subscribers. I almost had a stroke when we hit 100. I remember I was married at the time. I said to my ex-wife, do you realize if every single one of the subscribers were in this house, how packed it would be? Now there's 123,000. I couldn't wrap my head around 100. I can't wrap my head around any of this. So future goals, I have no idea. I mean, I guess in a perfect world, the reality show I'm in now, if people just absolutely loved it, and it became something that sustained for several seasons, that would be a neat thing. That would be fun. Just because it's different, you know what I mean? It's the same thing. It's in the same vein, but it's different, you know? But I don't know. I'm a kid in the candy store. Like, I get paid to eat peppers, you guys. I mean,
That's a good point.
I have more fun by accident than I think most people have on purpose. So, you know,
That is awesome.
no matter where it goes, I'll be
Actually, Yeah, that begs another question, and it's probably one of the hardest for you. What's your favorite pepper? It's
My
not a
favorite
brand,
pepper
essentially.
currently, it's really funny. The first 5 years of the channel, or first 4 years, I dodged that question. They used to ask it, like, if you get stuck on an island, you only bring one pepper with you. What's good? And I'm like, I don't want to play. That game sucks. I'm not playing. And I would never play those games. I wouldn't even do it. But 2 years ago,
Hmm.
I ate a pepper. It's There's a pepper called a yellow brain. There's a pepper called a brain, which looks like a brain. It's red and looks just like a brain. Well, there's a
Yeah.
chocolate brain, it's just the chocolate variety of that, and there's a yellow one. Well, I have a friend who's a grower, amazing grower, and he grew one. It was so different tasting that it didn't seem right to call it the same thing. So he calls it, instead of a yellow brain, it's the lemon yellow brain. And I'm telling you, if you were blindfolded and if you had somebody in the room that was blindfolded or blind, and you cut one of these peppers open, they would say, "You got a lemon? Who's got the lemon?" It just smells like such a lemon, and it's piping hot and kind of sweet and delicious. And for 2 years, that was my favorite pepper. But on one of the shoots that we were on for this thing I'm in, I'm with the same guy, the same grower, in his garden. He goes, "I got something I want to show you." I said, "What is it?" He goes, "It's kind of a secret. I didn't want to tell you, but I wanted to show you." So we walk up to this plant, and it's a primatale plant, which is the hottest pepper in the world. And I'm looking at it, and he's got yellow pods. And there's never been a yellow primatale yet. And at first he thought it was an accidental cross between a lemon yellow brain and a red primatale, but it's not. The plant just happened to throw yellow primatales. And
Oh wow.
he calls it the
Wow.
killer yellow, and it's just like the lemon yellow brain that used to be my favorite, but it's just amped up, hotter and more lemony. It almost tastes like you took a small shaving of a lemon peel, wrapped it in sugar, stuck it inside a pepper, and said, "Eat it." It's just lemony and sugar and sweet and just stupid hot for a yellow pod. So that's my favorite pepper. If I had to go to an island, that's the pepper I take with me.
Gotcha. Okay. Wow.
Awesome. Wow. Wow.
Which you actually brought up
Love
an
it.
interesting point. It sounds like a lot of growers are intentionally crossbreeding against different species to create new peppers, right? So it's like it sounds like it's very intentional when like these new pepper varieties come out. It's intentionally created, right? It's like getting the certain flavors of certain peppers, the spice levels of other peppers, and kind of combining it together. Is that the way to think about it?
That's the way they'd like it to go, but it's not always how it goes. In a perfect world, yes, but crossbreeding peppers is not as easy as everybody thinks it is. Most of the great crosses that have happened, believe it or not, were accidental. Let me give you an example.
Ooh.
The chocolate bootla was created by a man named Chad Selesky in his backyard. It was an accidental cross. He had two plants that were close, and they threw some very strange pods. He said, "What is this?" He ate one, and it was, at the time, people thought it was the hottest pepper in the world. It's really a great pepper. During one of the shoots we were on, you'll see this in the show. But I walk up to a guy, and he's vying to have one of the hottest peppers in the world. And I got a camera right here. There's another camera right here, and there's another camera over here. And I'm mic'd up, and everybody's watching. And he's got a pepper. He goes, "Johnny, I brought this pepper. I want you to eat it." Nothing's scripted. This is all off the cuff. It's all free form. Nothing's scripted. He goes, "I got a pepper. I want you to eat. Do you mind eating it in front of me?" I said, "Of course I will." And I ate his pepper, and I'm chewing it up, and the guy behind the camera goes, "Is it a contender, Johnny?" And I'm on the spot, like you can't imagine. I went, "No, man, I'm sorry, it's not." And it looked you would have thought I told him his baby was ugly or something. It was. I felt so bad. I said, "Dude, I'm sorry, but I can't lie to you. It's not that hot a pepper." And this is a pepper he's been working on for 5 or 6 years. So I'm turning around to walk away, and he goes, "I'll tell you what, Johnny. I got one other pepper from my garden, but I don't really know what it is." I said, "What do you mean?"
Hmm.
He goes, "It's an accidental cross." I went, "Really?" You say to a pepperhead, you say accidental cross in front of a pepperhead, it's like a cat here in the tuna can, the can opener or something. I said, "You have an accidental cross. What is it?" He goes, "Well, I don't know exactly. One of the plants was a primatale." I said, "Really?" I said, "What's the other?" He goes, "Well, there's like three. I don't know which one it was. But there were three in close proximity to it. And the camera's wrong." I said, "Let me try it." I grabbed it and I ate it. And I mean, instantaneously, it was 5 times hotter than the one he had given me 2 minutes earlier. And I said, that is a hot pepper. I felt so relieved because I just told him his baby was ugly. You know what I mean? I felt terrible about that. So here's the best part about this. I walked away, and they're following me, and we're doing our thing. I mean, like I can go from baseline, eating the hottest pepper in the world, go to peak heat, and back to zero in about 7 to 10 minutes. Because I've been doing this for a long time. If a person who's not used to it, it would take them an hour to get over it. So I eat the pepper, and I walk away. 20 minutes go by. I'm still burning. I'm looking at my watch. I looked at myself. When did I eat that pepper last? So like 20 minutes, 25 minutes ago. So let's go back. We went right back to his booth. I said, dude, that pepper's got legs. I'm still burning. How long ago was that? He goes, 25 minutes ago. I said, you have a great pepper there. Because normally I would eat a pepper. Seriously, 10 minutes. I'm back to nothing. That pepper is incredible, and it's a perfect example of an accidental cross. But here's the thing that I fear the most. Have you guys ever heard of barn finds, where a guy will buy an old home, and there's an old fallen down barn, he opens the doors, and there's a 1957 Ferrari in there, and it's worth That happens all the time. The converse happens in chili gardens every season. The opposite. People will have these accidental crosses, and I fear that the hottest pepper that has ever been created rots on the vine because very few people eat what they grow. People will approach me at events, every event I go to. They'll say, oh, I grow those. I grow the hottest pepper in the world. And I say this, I have a canned answer. I've been doing this for so long. Oh, cool. Do you eat them? I ask everybody. Oh, no. I give them my friends. Nobody eats the peppers they grow. They grow it for a novelty. So my fear is that, he's a perfect example. This is a guy who grows for a living and didn't know what he had. I'm like, you don't even eat these? He doesn't even eat. Very few pepper growers even eat what they grow. I know one who does. I know a second who eats slivers of it. No one does. So I go to bed thinking about it. There's a pepper that's going to melt my face off. That's in somebody's backyard right now, looking beautiful, taking a weird shape that no one's even seen, and no one's going to see it because that knucklehead doesn't eat his own peppers and doesn't even know what he's got. That's what I know that happens all the time. I just know it.
Wow. Awesome. All right. So I guess that brings us to the end of the discussion, Johnny. It was, first of all, a delightful conversation. Thanks for joining us today. It was absolutely fascinating learning about your journey and the kind of stuff you've experienced through your pepper journey. And, there have been obviously a lot of interesting stories along the way, and we absolutely enjoyed that. Before we close, would you like to share any social media handles that you're most active at? YouTube channel, Instagram, anything else?
You're very kind. That'd be great. First of all, Deepan and Katula, thank you so much for having me here. You guys are great. I really appreciate it. The only ones I'm really active. Here's the truth of it. I don't like social media.
Oh, really?
I don't like any of it. I think we're too in the thick of it right now. 20 years from now, they're going to do studies and say everything went downhill when social media started. For real. But, all that said, I'm only on Instagram. I am it's the _Johnny Scoville. That's me on Instagram, the _Johnny Scoville. On YouTube, I'm Chase the Heat. Chase the Heat on Facebook, but I'm very rarely on Facebook. I used to be on it a lot. Feels too much like work.
All right.
Awesome.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, again, wonderful discussion. Learned so much through this conversation.
I had fun. Thank you. You asked some great questions, by the way.
Thank you.
Thanks.
With that said, if you guys are not already following Your Life Unfiltered on YouTube, please be sure to give us a follow. That's at Your Life Unfiltered. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in and listening. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone.